Suki Hotu, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sumin, and I'm very honored to be representing Sakya in today with my fellow youth members. So, if you notice, there are a few of us with the Sakya in background. So, that's us, the presenters for tonight. We are representatives of Sakya in the Malacca Buddhist Association. So first of all, we would like to say thanks to BGF and also the co-organizers for inviting us to talk about our temple, Sakya Inn. So Sakya Inn, if you haven't known, Sakya Inn means the house of the Sakya. So we are also very grateful for this learning opportunity given to us by our senior members to represent our temple at this event today. So today, what we will do is that we will be taking you through our temple via a virtual tour to learn about the history, activities, and laurels that we have at Sakya Inn. So a brief overview, there are 5 sections to our presentation. So the first part would be the founding of our temple and its main features, devotional practices, Dharma Propagation, welfare and charity, and our Wasatch celebration. So after getting to know our temple from our perspectives, we would also like to invite all of you, we would like to take you on a virtual tour of our temple. This way, we hope you will be able to experience all the activities at our temple as a visitor that could accommodate people of various ages. Okay, so here we go. Let's have a look at our slides right now. I will now introduce you the presenters that we have today. So the first one, Sumin, that's me. I hope I look the same as you could see from here. Right, the second one is Isian, third, Brandon, fourth, Sharina, and the Ngan sisters, there are 3 of them. And lastly, we have Amanda. So all of us will be presenting to you the history and activities that we have at Sakya Inn. Okay, moving on. So welcome to Sakya Inn, one of the oldest Buddhist temples in Malacca. Now we're showing you the bird's eye view of the temple, as well as the Wisma, which is located just right opposite of our temple, separated by a busy road. So the one with the red roof is our main shrine hall. On the left-hand side, we have the Columbarium Block. Moving upwards, we have a 3-story building, and on the right-hand side, it is a 4-story building. Now you can see the drone shot descending to the main entrance to our main shrine hall. So there is this sign stating Sakya Inn 100-year anniversary. So here's the fun fact of our temple. Last year, we celebrated the 100-year anniversary of the founding of our temple. And this year, it is our 101st year anniversary. Also, there is something that I would like to add on to the 100-year anniversary, which is our Centennial Celebration. We were supposed to have a very grand celebration and exhibition at our temple. However, due to the lockdown restrictions, we have to postpone it. But looking on the bright side, the COVID situation in our country is improving slowly but steadily. Therefore, we as the members of the temple look forward to having a proper celebration in the near future. And of course, we would love to have all of you on board with us to celebrate our 100 and 101st and also more celebrations of the anniversary as well. So I'm not too sure how many of you have actually been to Malacca. So if you are familiar with Malacca, there is this one landmark that is near our temple that you might know, which is a high school that is quite popular among the locals. It is SMK Gajah Berang. So our temple is located along Jalan Gajah Berang. It is only a few doors away from the high school, SMK Gajah Berang. So Sakya Eenh is one of the most popular non-sectarian Buddhist temples in Malacca. And I understand that many of you here are from different places, so I'm not too sure if everyone understands the term non-sectarian, but because I was asked this question before, so I'll just take this opportunity to explain to you what exactly it means to be a non-sectarian Buddhist temple. So our temple is non-sectarian because we are not tied down to a particular Buddhist school. So all schools of Buddhism are recognized, embraced, and also practiced here. So for example, during the Hungry Ghost Festival, the 7th month of the lunar calendar, we had a Chotao Ceremony. That is a Mahayana practice. And then every month we have our full moon and also new moon chanting. That is a Theravada practice. And this coming Sunday, we will have our Katina ceremony. That is also part of what is practiced in the Theravada school of Buddhism. So Sunday Puja, what we have for Sunday Puja, that is a combination of Theravada and also Mahayana. So throughout the years, we have also had the opportunity to invite monastics from other Buddhist schools, for example, Vajrayana, to give talks at our temple. So I hope that clear things up for you who did not quite understand the term non-sectarian. Okay, moving on. So this is a very clear picture of our temple. So this is what you could see if you are standing from the Wisma, our Wisma, just right opposite of our temple. So at our temple, we have three shrine halls. The first one is the main shrine, the one that you saw on the descending drone shot, and then the Bodhi shrine. Yes, the Bodhi shrine. And then you would see there is the Chetya shrine. And we have an office that is located within our temple compound. Behind our just right next to our office is the Columbarium Block. So it is a white building. You might notice that there is a religious building behind the white building. That is an Indian temple. Okay, so there is this 3-story block just right beside the Columbarium Block. One second. So it houses the Dana Hall and also our monk quarters. So right beside the 3-story block, it is our 4-story block. So this is where the Buddha Jayanti Hall, Ananda Mangala Library, and also Mudita home of our temple are located within. So further details of each area will be elaborated by our youth representatives later. Okay, so if you are standing from one of the 3-story or 4-story block from our temple, you would see Wisma Sakya Eenh just right opposite the temple, separated by a road. You could see cars, right? So the Wisma Sakya Eenh houses a few assets of our temple, so including Tadika, which is our kindergarten, SCATS, it's short for Sakya Eenh Dhamma School. So Sakya Eenh Dhamma School, just for your information, it is held online now every fortnight. This Wisma also houses Dewan Chan Kim Lay. It is a multi-purpose hall. Okay. So now I would like to pass the mic to Brother Isian to introduce you further on the history of our temple. On you go, Isian. Thank you.
So very good evening to fellow brothers and sisters in the Dharma. So I'll now introduce you to SKE. So first, Eenh was founded in 1920 by a small group of Straits-born Chinese Buddhists under the leadership of Mr. Eenh. So the name Eenh, as mentioned by Sumin just now, it's derived from the original Pali word Sakya, which refers to the clan which our Gautama Buddha belonged to. And hence, the temple was also known as the Lord Buddha's Temple in the early years. So since the temple was founded by the Straits-born, which is also known as the Babas, and they came from prominent families, so the temple was also identified as Datuk Peranakan, which means Straits-born temple, and Datuk Orang Kaya, rich man temple. So in the year 1953, the name Malacca Buddhist Association was added to Eenh to enlighten the public as to the aims and objectives of the temple. Moving on from the name, we'll move into the Buddha Rupa, which is the Buddha's image. So in 1922, a Buddha image in Bumi Fasa Mudra from Rangoon, Burma, which is present-day Myanmar, was brought down by rail and presented to SKE by Venerable P. Ratanatissa Thera. So this Buddha Rupa, it was first placed into 2 different Chinese temples for about 19 years before taking up permanent residence in the present premises in 1941. So the temples were Jok Siao Kong and Kwan Im Tong, which are both in Malacca as well. Now, we'll talk about the building itself, the Lord Buddha's Temple. So in the year 1940, SKE purchased a piece of land with an old wooden bungalow at Gajah Barang Road, where the temple is now situated. So in the past, a temporary altar was constructed outside of the temple on Wasatch days, as this small wooden bungalow could hardly accommodate the increasing numbers of devotees. So after setting up a building fund subcommittee in 1950, many fundraising projects such as Wayang Peranakan, concerts, and fancy dress entourage were organized to raise funds for the erection of a new temple. So these fundraising events, it's really heartening because SKE received very intimate support from other organizations and dignitaries of all races. So for example, in the picture on the left corner, you can actually see our founding father, Tunku Abdul Rahman, who actually took a picture with our performers after watching the performance by SKE's team. Yeah, so let's move on to the next slide. So through the efforts of many selfless individuals and organizations, the Lord Buddha's Temple was erected and officially opened by Mr. Robert Tan in May 1956. So during the construction of the new temple, the Buddha image was temporarily housed in a Ching Hun Ting, which is also known as Qing Yun Ting, right? It was transported on a bullock cart in a procession to the temple on the opening day. So here you can see 4 pictures of the temple. First in 1957, then in 1983, whereby the structure is very similar to present-day temple, then in 2015, and then to the very recent renovation that we had in 2020. So now moving away from the temple to the Bodhi tree. So the Bodhi Sapling, presented by Venerable M.M. Mahavira Thera, was planted by Mr. Eenh in 1956 in the presence of Venerable Jinara Kita from Indonesia, the temple officials, and also fellow devotees. It was believed to be historically linked to the lineage of the original Bodhi tree, under which our noble master sat and attained Buddhahood. So today, the Bodhi Shrine is another landmark of the temple where devotees spend quiet moments under its shade and enjoy the tranquility it provides. Now, we'll talk about the Chettiya. So the idea of building a Chettiya to enshrine the Buddha's relics was first mooted in 1965, but due to the insufficient funds, the project had to be delayed until 1988. Prior to the erection of the Chettiya, a pair of sao trees were planted in 1984. The intended Chettiya would be erected in between the two sao trees. So the building of the Chettiya was completed in April 1988. It was a joint effort of the skills of local workers and an expertise from Sri Lanka. The unveiling ceremony was held on the Wasatch Day, which is the 30th of May in 1988. Now, the Buddha relics, which were presented by Venerable Ananda Mangala, were enshrined in the Chettiya on the Vesak evening at 8 p.m. Today, the Chettiya also enshrines the Buddha relics presented by Ajahn Yantra Amaro Bhikkhu and Venerable Mahinda. Now we'll talk about SKE's Columbarium. So here you can see two different pictures. One is before 1985 and the other is after the renovation in 1985. So basically these are the pictures of the Columbarium, which was first installed in 1978. Yes. So we have a very famous quote, which is very visible to all visitors. So upon entry to the temple, you would see this quote there on the wall at the Columbarium, quoting, "Open are the doors to deathlessness, so strive diligently," as quoted by the Buddha. Next. So in order to pay respects to the departed ones, we also host annual contact ceremonies. And as mentioned previously, we are a non-sectarian Buddhist temple, and hence you would also see Mahayana monks and also Mahayana prayers while we carry out such ceremonies. Now, Tadika SKE, which is also known as preschool or kindergarten. So the Tadika was founded in January 1979 with only one mixed age class of 23 pupils. So it was just one class. So the journey through more than 40 years of history, it has now 7 classes comprising 3 English medium classes and 4 Chinese medium classes. The total enrollment is about 120 pupils and all the classrooms are fully air conditioned.
Thank you, Brother Isian. Yes, the next session will be conducted by Brother Brendan. So some of you have asked some questions in the chat box. Thank you for the questions. We have a senior member here, Brother Cedric. He is answering your questions in the chat box. So I'll pass the mic to Brendan Ang right now for the section Devotional Practices. On you go. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Brendan Ang and I'll be presenting on Devotional Practices. SKE Temple, being a non-sectarian Buddhist organization, went through many changes in matters regarding devotional practices. This is because during the first 42 years, SKE Temple didn't have a resident monk. And it was after Venerable Ananda Mangala was appointed to be the first resident monk of SKE in the year 1963, the temple had a new sense of awareness of Buddhist practices. Hence, much of the culture and traditions were revised and practiced more towards the Buddhist practice than the traditional, such as Straits-born culture. In the next slide, I will be presenting on some of the tradition and culture that previously practiced but no longer practiced in the temple now. So, one of which is the Semayan Tingkong prayers. It is the prayers and offering to the Jade Emperor. So, it is reserved for use only during important events such as Tingkong birthday, Vesak Eve, Vesak Day, and during the pledge taking ceremony of the bridal couple. This practice was initially held in the Shrine Hall, then it was shifted to the Buddha Jayanti Hall before this practice was discontinued in the mid-1900s. So next is Paitao prayers, which is prayers towards the Northern Star or the Big Dipper constellation. In Chinese is Peitou Qixing. Paitao paraphernalia consists of a sword. Aqua in English is referred to the 8 trigrams, oil lamp, Wu, and So. Next is the Chotao Ceremony, which is marriage ritual where the bride or groom would undergo the hair combing ceremony in front of the Tok Samkai. The Chotao ceremony is in the early stages of the temple, was held in the Shrine Hall. Next. Then later on, the Chotao ceremony was then shifted to the Buddha Jayanti Hall. And this picture here was during the late Kenny Chan's Chotao ceremony. This is in the late 1900s. Next is the Chamsi. Today, the caretaker or priest who was there to interpret the character mark on the oracle chichi sticks in accordance to the manual of fortune telling is no longer available in the temple, but the Chamsi paraphernalia is still available in the temple for the devotees. Back in the days, as most of the devotees are mainly Hokkien, chanting was conducted in local Hokkien dialect too. There were musicians and people who conducted it was Mr. Yo Kim Si. Then later on, Mahayana chanting is then replaced to this unique Hokkien chanting. One of the interesting events that took place in SKE was the ordination of Miss Peggy Kenneth, also known as Venerable Sumitra. Next will be the video of her ordination in Sakya. 38-year-old British music teacher became a Buddhist nun at an ordination ceremony in Sakya Temple at Malacca, Malaya on January 21st. She is the first English woman to do so. As Miss Peggy Kenneth walked into the temple, incense was burned and the sound of music from Chinese flute filled the building. She had her head shaved as a mark of humility and cast off worldly worries, a practice for all in the Buddhist order. She was barefoot. The 3-hour ceremony began with offering of sandalwood on the altar and making 3 vows to signify her consent to live the law of Dhamma, which includes putting away all luxury and observing poverty and celibacy. The chief monk at the ceremony was Reverend Sumangalo, a 59-year-old American monk who is chief abbot of North Malaya. She was sprinkled with holy water and given new robes by sister nuns. She knelt before each of the monks and nuns in turn as a mark of respect, and finally received a certificate of ordination from 2 senior monks. The Buddhist name of Miss Kenneth, a born Christian, is Sister Sumitra, which means good friend. She entered the Buddhist society in the UK at the age of 16 and hoped to be a nun ever since. The next ordination that took place in the temple was the ordination of Venerable Mahinda. So these are the pictures of his ordination. Venerable Ananda Mangala is the person who made it all possible for SKE today. The period he spent in Malacca as the resident monk of SKE was a turning point in the history of the temple. This was the era that saw a major transition from traditional religious rituals to more Dhamma-inclined practice by integrating the Theravada and Mahayana devotions for general use. He also initiated the first all-night chanting in the year 1964.
I was a young boy. I was sleeping at the temple just beside the shrine hall. It was early in the morning, the early hours of the morning. I heard somebody chanting. Beautiful voice. Ananda Mangala. Powerful. And he just take refuge in the morning. I can remember very well. He took his refuge. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang, he goes one bar higher. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang. He does that alone in an empty shrine hall. When you get up, who is that? Then I understood. No wonder he encouraged the youth to develop their talents.
Okay, so that's the part on the devotional practices from Brandon. Thank you. So I'm not too sure if you have noticed, but I'm sure you would have, is that the devotional practices at our temple, Sakya Eenh, have taken a more Buddhistic flavor nowadays, as our devotees have become more religiously educated. Although many of the traditional practices have been shed off, some retain. So, for example, the protocol of food arrangement during our Gongtek ceremony, shown in Isian's slide just now, clearly shows our confirmation to traditional and cultural practice. So, all in all, our Buddhist practices have taken a modern outlook, not because of the lack of respect, but instead it is because of our new sense of awareness on the proper Buddhist practice. So now, I would like to invite my fellow youth member, Sister Sharina, to show you the Dharma propagation at Sakya Inn.
Thank you, Sumin. Hi, everyone. So in this section, I'll be talking about Sakya Inn's role in propagating the Dhamma to our local Buddhist community. So one of the significant steps taken by Sakya Eenh to provide Dhamma support to the young and old was the formation of various groups within the organization. Some of the groups that are still active today are Sakya Eenh Gospel Section, Sakya Eenh Dhamma School, Malacca Buddhist Youth Society, which is currently an independent society registered under Registrar of Youth, the Adult Dhamma Discussion Group, the Dhamma Theatrical Group, Chanting Farers, and Sakya Eenh Sutta Meditation and Chanting. So these groups have either directly or indirectly engaged in temple activities, but they've definitely played an active role in assisting the temple to propagate the Dhamma. To start off, in 1960, the Second National Convention of the Malayan Buddhist Youth Fellowship was hosted by the temple. It was officiated by Malacca's then Chief Minister, Encik Abdul Ghaffar bin Baba, and he's actually the guy wearing the black baju Melayu over there. In 1963, the temple organized the first Malacca Buddhist Youth Seminar in Malacca High School. So about 150 youths from all over the Federation of Malaya and Singapore participated in this. Also, we had both the Mahayana and Theravada monks chanting suttas in blessing. The second Malacca Buddhist Youth Seminar was held on the 18th and 19th of April 1975. It was convened by Brother Ko Hun Guan under the guidance of Venerable Piyasilo. In 1963 also, the first Buddhist youth work camp and Dhamma training course was organized. About 60 youths took part and 25 Dhamma talks were delivered by Venerable Sirs. This event is now known as our annual holiday work camp. The painting over here was actually a mural which was painted during the camp, but it was painted over with a fresh coat of paint just last year. So actually, we haven't been organizing the work camp for the past few years due to COVID, but this year we'll be having our first virtual camp. Moving on, in 1967, an inter-religious forum, the Buddha, the Christ, and the Prophet was held at the Malacca Town Hall. We had Yang Berhormat Encik Senu bin Abdul Rahman speaking on the Prophet, Reverend Lok Oi, who was the vicar at the Christ Church, spoke on the Christ, and Venerable Ananda Mangala spoke on the Buddha. It was chaired by Dr. Lim Swee Aun, the then Minister of Commerce and Industry. In 1977, Venerable Pia Silo, who was the second resident monk and Ske's principal in November 1976, introduced a very comprehensive integrated syllabus for Buddhist studies. So these studies was super popular at that time due to its versatility, and it was very well received by Buddhist organizations throughout the country and even all the way to Singapore. The Ske's correspondence course was also reorganized along the line of this integrated syllabus. So one interesting fact is that Venerable Pia Silo is actually the first local born monk to have served the temple. Also in 1977, Sakya Dhamma School and Catholic High School, which is a high school located near to the temple, formed the Malacca State Liaison Committee for the Young Buddhist Association of Malaysia, YBAM. One of the projects organized by the temple under the aegis of YBAM was the Convention of the Buddhist Society held at the same year. In 1978, the Dharma Preachers Training Course, DPTC, was initiated. It was the first of its kind where lay people are groomed to be Dharma preachers, and the temple has definitely led the way in the efforts to train new Dharma preachers to fill this gap. Next. So apart from communicating the Dhamma through doctrines and such, Sakya also tries to take on a more artistic and fun approach. For example, in 1988, the temple embarked on a new concept in propagating the Dhamma through shows, basically theatrical performances. A series of Buddhist plays on full moon days were presented to the public by our very own Dhamma theatrical group, which was initiated by Venerable K. Kamarama. In 1987, Sakya also took part in the National Chinese Dance Competition, and we won 4 out of the 5 awards. Also, our Sakya community has been involved in producing and performing Buddhist hymns for many years and have paved the way for many hymn singing groups. For instance, MOD, Wayfarers, Dr. Victor Wee also all have their roots here in Sakya. In 2005, through the efforts of Venerable Ratana Siri, who was our 5th resident monk, the World Buddhist Sangha Youth Section General Conference was held in Sakya. So over 300 monks and nuns of different traditions from 43 different countries attended the conference, and it was a very big event at that time. The theme of this conference is unity and religious harmony, and was aimed at providing an avenue for young Buddhist monk and nun to carry out Dhamma Duta work. Next, the first Dhamma Speaker Seminar and the first International Buddhist Convention organized by Sakya was held in 2010. Both of these events provided opportunities for Buddhists to learn as well as discuss matters related to Dharma propagation. In 2011, the first Pali Chanting Seminar cum Anniversary Dinner was held, and we had Mr. Aruna K. Gamaj, who is fluent in the Pali language, speak at this event. Here we have a short clip of Datuk Charlie Chia talking about the Chanting Ferris, which was started by Sakya.
I also like to attribute the Buddha's chanting, the reciting of the Buddha's teaching, to the group that has actually started from Malacca called the Chanting Ferris. And they have actually helped to develop the harmonious single uniformity of a Buddhist chanting, especially among the Theravada and the English-speaking groups. And we owe it to the Chanting Ferris started by Datuk Kenji.
Moving on, in 2016, the Buddhist Youth Leadership Workshop was organized to provide a platform for Buddhist youths to share their thoughts and help bring their Buddhist institutions forward. About 120 youths from 11 different organizations nationwide participated in this workshop. Next. In 2019, the How to Die a Good Death Sutta Study with Meditation workshop organized by the Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia was held in Sakya. This was a 2-day workshop and facilitated by Ayasma Agachita. Also in 2019, Seck Eenh, together with the Buddhist Missionary Society Malaysia, organized the Wesak exhibition entitled The Awakening Force in the Footsteps of the Buddha. So one interesting feature of the exhibition was the portrayal of the story of the life of the Buddha in beautifully drawn paintings that were specially commissioned by the late S.N. Goenka. Fast forward to present time, the COVID-19 pandemic has really changed how things are normally done. So things that require any sort of physical interaction, like attending Dharma classes or even going to the temple to pray, cannot be done like how they usually are. We've actually had to adapt to these changes, and as online Dharma teaching and learning has become ever so important and common. But despite these challenges, Seck Eenh continues to promote the Buddha Sasana virtually for the well-being and benefit of the Buddhist community around us. This goes to show that the temple puts in a lot of effort to still be relevant in the society today. So that is all for my part. Over to you, Sumin.
Okay, thank you very much, Sharina. That was a very insightful presentation on the Dharma propagation. So, yes, I agree with you. So, the pandemic has indeed stripped away many of our opportunities to organize activities like how we used to at the temple in person physically. But I would like to look on the bright side, because if not for the pandemic, I think we wouldn't have this opportunity here today to be presenting our temple to everyone throughout the world. Because just now I heard from Brother Ang and also a few of the organizers today that we have audience from all over the world, including Singapore and Australia. So thank you so much for tuning in today. If you missed the first part, I actually said thank you already. But yeah, seeing that there are 190 participants here really make us feel very honored to be presenting our temple to you today. Right, moving on, I would like to invite the youngest members among all presenters that we have today, the Ngan sisters. So the Ngan sisters, they are Cheer Yu, Joan Yu, and also Rin Yu. So for your information, they are still in school. All of us presenters here are either university students or working adults, but these Ngan sisters, they are school students still. So they will talk about the welfare and charity at our temple, as well as the Wasatch celebration. So in continuing the Buddha's heritage, our temple, Ske Eenh, puts into practice the three meritorious acts that are Dana, Sila, and Bhavana. Now, yes, let's give them a virtual applause. Right, Ngan sisters, it's your turn
Hello
to
everyone.
present. Hi.
Hi. Now I will be sharing about welfare and charity at SKE. The SKE Mudita Home was formed in 2004. The objective is to provide a loving, conducive Dharma-inspired home for abandoned and unprivileged children. It started with only 3 children and has reached to 14 children at one time. SKE Cancer Fund is solely organized to help cancer patients irrespective of race, creed, gender, and age. For the past 20 years, most patients were given financial assistance, either as a one-off contribution or a monthly allocation for a duration of maximum 1 year. It was an arrangement whereby SKE will provide solace to the high-risk cancer patients through prayers and Dhamma talk, referred by MMC upon request, and also small medical fees for an unaffordable patients. Reapplication can be considered after the duration. Each year, close to Wesak, a special welfare day is organized whereby a few hundred packs of food and ang paos are given out to individuals who are poor and in need.
The temple has been providing humanitarian aid for disaster victims all these years. These donations are in the form of cash or in kind. The educational aid scheme was created to provide small monetary handouts to individuals in the form of a one-off assistance or for a short-term basis. Based on the circumstances, the aid scheme includes providing school uniforms, shoes and stationeries, giving small monthly allowances for household expenses, paying for food, and so forth. A blood donation campaign is organized from time to time at the temple premises. There are also regular, heartwarming visits to old folks' homes and orphanages. Besides that, fun activities for less fortunate children and elderly folks are organized from time to time. They are entertained with shows and live bands. Red packets are also distributed to them. During MCO, SKE sets up food pantries to lend a hand to the needy, so no one will go hungry during the challenging times. Hi, I'm going to talk about the SKE annual Wasatch procession. Since the early years, SKE has been given the honor to organize the Sakya annual Wasatch procession, except for the Grand Wasatch procession. Traditionally, the sweeper, tang, chaiki, and flag bearers from SKE would be leading the procession, while the SKE floats form the rear guard. The SKE procession would set up at 7 p.m. and involve a distance of approximately 6 km from the temple. This slide shows the photos of the Wasatch Day processions in the 1950s. During the Wasatch Days, a small procession around the temple would be held in the evening. Here you can see the procession from the 1960s to the 1970s. On the upper left, you can see SKEUs carrying the Buddha relics. And the photo on the top center shows Mukhalinda on the Wasatch main float in 1972. The pictures show the main floats from the 1980s to the 1990s. A different design of the main float was produced each year. The animals in the front of the floats are actually tractors in disguise. In addition, on the Wasatch of 1989, the replica of Sakya Eenh was built for the Dhamma School Wasatch float. You can see it on the top right corner. The jewel chamber, also known as Ratnagara, was made from more than 1,071 stainless steel spoons and 1,031 light bulbs, weighing more than 20 tons. It costed more than 120,000 ringgit. This jewel chamber made its tour of Malacca on the 24th of May 2002. It was being driven by a charioteer and pulled by participants.
Okay, thank you very much, dengan sisters, for telling us about the welfare and charity as well as the most sought after event at our temple, which is the Wasatch celebration. So now I would like to invite Amanda to tell you more about the community at Sakya Eenh, because all the presenters that have presented today have talked to you about our temple from our perspective. Now we would like to show you from the perspective as a visitor at any stage of your life how you can get involved at our temple in terms of the activities that we have throughout your entire life. Welcome, Amanda.
Right. Thanks, Sumin. Okay, I'm just going to take a very quick chill pill here because everybody's going on with so much facts of the temple. We know Sakya Eenh has been here for 101 years now. And because of that 101 years, we have built a very big pool of community here. And I just want to let everyone know that we all came to the temple at some point in our lives, be it to learn or to serve. We are all part of this community and we are all here as Kalyana Mitras. Now, if you're wondering what Kalyana Mitra is. It's actually a spiritual friend, or you can call it your Buddhist friend. So brothers and sisters that are watching us today, hi, new Kalyana Mitras. We hope to see you join us and visit our temple very soon. So I'm going to talk about the entry points into the SKE community. The first one, if you are born into a Buddhist family which already have ties with the temple, Tadika SKE or the SKE preschool and the SKE Dhamma school would be your default entry point into the community. I'm sure some of us here, I'm pretty sure I saw Brandon before and the Ngan sisters as well. They all were from Dhamma school. I'm not sure if they were from Tadika, but they were born into a Buddhist family which already have ties with the temple. So yeah, this would be your entry point if you are still schooling or under your parents' roof. All right. Our next entry point, we also host many conventions and seminars and workshops where you can take part and learn the Dhamma together here at SKE. You can see on the top left, it's a picture of our novitiate program, which was already stopped, but we wanted to continue in 2020, but due to COVID, we were not able to carry out that plan. And also because of COVID, we have moved a lot of our sutta studies and also our classes to our Zoom platform. So if you are interested to join us through these events, please keep a lookout. We will share you the link to our Facebook to stay updated. All right, every year, SKE celebrates this tri-holy event starting with a 7-night chanting, followed by a Wesak Eve procession on Wesak Eve, a candlelight procession to close the event. Now, during the Wesak period, there are many religious activities and events that takes place in the temple, such as Pindapata, a special puja, and also bathing of the baby Buddha. So if you were to join us during the Wesak time, it's the most happening time for the temple. And this is where we need the most help as well. So if you are free and if you are in town during the Wesak period or near to the Wesak period, please feel free to drop by. We are very sure that there will be something for you to volunteer and help us with. Every year, Sakya Eenh also organizes fellowship camps to nurture our young Buddhists. We have children mini camp for kids under 12 years old, holiday youth camp and holiday work camp for high schoolers. And these activities involves the SKE community across generations, allowing senior members to guide and support while letting the youth explore and grow creatively. Speaking of youth, our next entry point to the community is where we are today, the Ske Youth Section. And at this stage, we are learning to serve the temple and the community with the guidance of our senior members. Many say that youth today are the leaders of tomorrow. So as such, many of our youth activities focus on values in line with Sila Samadhi Panya, which is also SKE's motto. So you can see in the pictures that during the pandemic, we are giving out food pantry, means we organize food pantry with the temple, the senior members of the temple, and the youth are the ones who are giving out the food packages during these times, because at the beginning we had a lot of people coming to take the food when our senior members haven't been fully vaccinated. So the youth step up to take on the role as the frontliner to give out these food. And this has made us bond even more. Right. So Sakya Eenh also offers registration of marriage and Buddhist wedding ceremony services. This service was once halted, but we now have it again at the temple. So if you are planning to get married, we welcome you to spend your special day with us. I can guarantee that it's very romantic. So if you are looking at getting married in the temple, we look forward to have you. As now we already have an in-house registrar of marriage, so you can come to SKE to have your marriage certificate signed. Right, as mentioned by my peers earlier, Sakya Eenh also have many programs and activities for volunteers to participate all year long. From chanting farers to food pantry, we welcome all volunteers to join our community. If you can see in the picture, we have the Sakya Cancer Fund. There is also the Subhana Mitra, which is the body that gives help to people in need and those who are already sick in the hospital, so that they are not lonely during their old age. I saw a question coming in earlier asking whether the temple has a kitchen. Yes, we do have a kitchen. It's super huge that we can cook for 100 participants for our camps. We don't usually cater food for our camp participants. We actually have our senior members volunteer to come cook for us. So if you are a really good cook, when our camps become not virtual anymore, please feel free to come and help us in the kitchen. We will need all the help we can get. And yeah, one of the things that made me go back to the temple, I've mentioned this many times, is because of the food that we get to eat in the temple. So yeah, thank you, Uncle and Auntie, for cooking us delicious meals. Yes, Brother Cedric can cook extremely well as well. Yeah, we all tasted his food. So yeah, if you want to taste good food, maybe not like all the time, okay? I would say come during camp times, come during special occasions. We will try our best to serve you yummy food from the temple. Every week we have a puja where you can join us and practice chanting. Many already know now that we started chanting farers a long time ago, and this is how we practice it every week. And we have a puja every Wednesday and Sunday, and full moon and new moon. There are also special pujas for students who are going through examination years. So there are special pujas like that, and we will keep everyone informed on the dates in our Facebook page. So keep a lookout on that. Right, now we all know that what comes to being shall cease to be one day. So the Columbarium is the final way for any one of you to join and be part of our community. Yes, even when you've departed the world, you can still join us in the Sakya community with our annual memorial services. We do our part to honor and remember the departed ones who can also be our loved ones here. Right, so basically, there are many other entry points, but these are the few that we find very interesting and we want to share with you. And we hope that you can join the SKE community at any stage of life, and we welcome everybody to come and visit our beloved temple. Back to you, Sumin.
Thank you, Amanda, for the very interesting perspective as a visitor and also as a participant. So I hope everyone learned something today, because this is the end of our presentation. Right, so I agree lah. I mean, earlier we said that yes, this pandemic really put out many barriers for us to meet in person, to participate in temple activities physically, but it does open up borders, virtual borders, for us to meet online on online platforms. Yes, because many of us, although we are from Sakya Eenh, although we are part of Sakya Eenh, but many of us during this difficult time, we need to travel to different places. And the only way to, to unite, to really let all the devotees come together is through online platforms. For example, the pujas I mentioned in the group chat are all live streamed on our Facebook page. So on the link to our Facebook page and our other social media pages, including Instagram and website, I have already sent it in the group chat if you haven't noticed. On behalf of all the youth presenters today, we would like to add on something, is that yes, we are proud to be given this opportunity to present to you the history of our temple, but we would also like to say that it is actually through the preparation of this slides, we learn more on the history of our temple. So it's not just us presenting it to you. We actually did our learning. We thought we knew our temple, but digging deeper into the history, we actually found out that wow, so this actually happened, that actually happened. So it helped us to cultivate a sense of belonging in our local community, as what Dr. Victor Wee said just now. Yes, I actually felt that throughout this pandemic, especially whenever I get to go back to our temple, it is, yeah, seeing everyone coming together, trying to help the wider community around our temple, that gives me a sense of belonging to my temple. I am proud of what the senior members have initiated, the things, the activities that they have been doing at the temple, and we are very inspired to do the same, to give back as much as what they have been giving to the community, if not more. So thank you, not only for this learning opportunity, but also for the inspiration.